Imagine for a moment that you are awakened every morning at 5 a.m. by the shrill blast of a military bugle, that your days are punctuated by forced marches under a blazing sun, and that your future as the future leader of an entire country depends on your ability to survive this fiery ordeal. This is exactly the reality Princess Leonor of Spain is currently experiencing, and what you are about to discover today will completely change your perception of what it truly means to be heir to a throne in the 21st century. Before diving into this fascinating story that reveals the secret behind the scenes preparation of a future queen, take a moment to subscribe to our channel, activate notifications by pressing the little bell, and feel free to share this video with anyone interested in the mysteries of European royal families. Your feedback is valuable to us, so please let us know what you think of this young princess's radical transformation. Princess Leonor of Bourbon, officially known as Leonor of All Saints of Bourbon and Ortiz, is currently undergoing a period in her life that could well redefine the very future of the Spanish monarchy. At 18, this young woman, who until recently was perceived as a shy teenager during official ceremonies, is now undergoing a dramatic metamorphosis within the General Military Academy of Zaragoza, one of the most rigorous military institutions in Europe. This transformation is not simply a royal whim or a dusty tradition inherited from the past. It represents a quiet revolution in the very concept of modern monarchical leadership. While most young people her age are discovering academic freedom and student parties, Leonor is learning the art of commanding men and women, making decisions under extreme pressure, and developing the natural authority that will be essential when she ascends the Spanish throne. The future queen's days invariably begin at 5 a.m. with the traditional military wake-up call. No exceptions are made given her royal status. She shares the same Spartan dormitories as her comrades, eats the same food in the communal mess halls, and undergoes the same morning inspections where every detail of her attire is scrutinized with relentless rigor. This equal treatment, far from being a punishment, is in fact one of the most revolutionary aspects of her training. The physical training she undergoes daily would be far beyond the capabilities of most of us. Endurance runs across the rugged terrain around Zaragoza. Intensive strength training, timed obstacle courses, and simulated military maneuvers constitute the daily bread of her new existence. But beyond simple physical preparation, these ordeals forge a steely mind that will be essential to face the colossal challenges that await her as head of state. What makes this training particularly fascinating is the way it deliberately breaks the traditional codes of European royalty. For centuries, heirs to the throne received a classical princely education, focused on the arts, diplomacy, and public relations. Leonor, on the other hand, learns to disassemble and reassemble weapons, read topographical maps in the dark, coordinate complex tactical operations, and maintain composure in situations of extreme stress. The Academy's instructors, all seasoned officers who have served in various international missions, make no concessions to her rank. She must earn every rank, every distinction, every mark of respect through her actual performance, not through her heritage. This absolute meritocracy is a completely new experience for a young woman who, until now, has been accustomed to the consideration and privilege inherent in her birthright. The most intriguing aspect of this training lies in its psychological dimension. Leonor learns not only to command, but also to be commanded. She discovers the humility born of obedience, the solidarity forged in shared adversity, and that particular form of leadership that is not imposed by status but rather achieved by example. These lessons, impossible to teach in gilded palaces, will form the foundation of her future authority. Theoretical subjects are not left out. Military history, international geostrategy, crisis management, communication under pressure, operational logistics, international military law, group psychology, and situational leadership make up an extraordinarily rich academic curriculum. Each course is designed to develop the capacity for rapid analysis and informed decision-making that characterizes great leaders. But it is perhaps in the simulation exercises that the training reveals its full modern relevance. Leonor regularly participates in fictional crisis scenarios where she must simultaneously manage military, diplomatic, economic, and media challenges. These strikingly realistic exercises prepare her for the complex situations she will face as head of state in an increasingly unpredictable geopolitical world. The relative isolation of the academy also offers her something precious and rare in her position: temporary anonymity. For the first time in her life, she can develop her personality and skills without the constant glare of the media and the public. This break from her public life allows her to discover herself away from the spotlight, to make mistakes without national consequences, and to grow at her own pace. The relationships she forges with her fellow students are of considerable strategic importance. These future officers, hailing from all regions of Spain and from all social backgrounds, will form the backbone of the Spanish armed forces in 20 or 30 years. The bonds of trust and mutual respect she is establishing with them today will be invaluable assets when, as queen, she must rely on their loyalty and competence. This military training is part of a broader vision of modernizing the Spanish monarchy. King Felipe VI, her father, perfectly understood that the challenges of the 21st century require a new type of leader. Economic crises, geopolitical tensions, natural disasters, pandemics, and technological upheavals require skills that neither dance classes nor posture lessons can provide. Spanish public opinion is observing this transformation with a mixture of curiosity and approval. In a country where the memory of the Civil War remains vivid and the army plays a respected role in society, seeing the future queen share the trials of ordinary soldiers reinforces her popular legitimacy. This proximity to the military institution, far from being perceived as anachronistic, appears, on the contrary, to be a sign of seriousness and commitment. The international implications of this training are also not going unnoticed. In a Europe where constitutional monarchies are seeking their place in the face of republics, the Spanish example could well inspire other royal courts. The combination of rigorous military training and modern education could become the new standard for preparing future European sovereigns. The personal challenges this training represents for an 18-year-old young woman should not be underestimated. Renouncing the pleasures of youth, accepting iron discipline, and enduring physical and mental fatigue, while maintaining the required academic excellence, requires exceptional strength of character. This capacity for personal sacrifice for the greater good is perhaps the most important lesson of her studies. Leonor's physical and mental evolution since the beginning of her training strikes all who meet her. The somewhat reserved young woman of official ceremonies has given way to a young woman with a determined gaze, a naturally haughty bearing, and the quiet confidence that characterizes true leaders. This visible metamorphosis testifies to the effectiveness of the chosen method. The future prospects this training opens up for the Spanish monarchy are considerable. A military-trained queen will have unique credibility to command the armed forces, negotiate with international leaders, and address national crises. This legitimacy, acquired through trial and error, could well revitalize a monarchical institution sometimes criticized for its outdated nature. However, important questions remain about the long-term consequences of this approach. How can the military culture of hierarchical obedience be reconciled with the democratic demands of the modern constitutional monarchy? How can this closeness to the army be maintained without compromising the political neutrality essential to the royal role? These delicate challenges will need to be met with finesse. The European dimension of this development also deserves consideration. If the Spanish experience proves conclusive, it could influence the training of future monarchs in other countries. The emergence of a new generation of military-trained sovereigns could transform relations between European monarchies and redefine their geopolitical role. This period of intensive training for Princess Leonor therefore represents much more than a simple educational milestone. It symbolizes a quiet revolution in the conception of monarchical leadership, a bold adaptation to the challenges of the contemporary world, and perhaps the emergence of a new model of royalty for the Europe of the future. As we observe this remarkable transformation of a young princess into a seasoned future head of state, a fascinating question arises: will this revolutionary approach to royal preparation definitively mark the end of ornamental monarchies and usher in the era of truly functioning sovereigns?